Hi, I'm Brittany, and in this video I want to talk about Aquarius rising. So what is the rising sign or the ascendant sign? It is the sign rising at the time that you were born. So you have to know your birth time in order to know your ascendant. It's the sign on the first house cusp of your birth chart. It represents how the world sees you and how you see the world. And it can show physical appearance, and it shows kind of your basic first reaction to new situations, and also others' first impression of you. Martin Schulman calls it your karmic doorway, meaning that it is the doorway in which the rest of your birth chart can flow out. So if you have a healthy relationship with your ascendant or rising sign, you're able to express yourself in a way that the rest of your chart can breathe and get out and be expressed to the world. So Aquarius rising. These people are very eccentric and very fun and very quirky and very unpredictable. And what do they look like? First, I'll just say what they maybe can look like. They're kind of scattered seeming. They're usually taller. They can be quite funny and poke fun at people. I've known a lot of Aquarius rising that they kind of are sarcastic and make fun of people and notice things that maybe we don't always notice, but it's always done in a light-hearted, fun way. Like, it's not a mean way that these people are making fun of you. It's usually just like they're laughing with you, or they always have something to say, and it's usually out of the ordinary. So it's these people you remember them because they're a little quirky, a little out there. They can have kind of crazy ideas, and but these are the geniuses. These are the enlightened ones. If you're born with Aquarius rising, you have a good chance that you can become enlightened in this lifetime, because Uranus, which is the ruling planet of Aquarius, rules sudden changes, disruptions, but also breakthroughs and genius. And these people are very connected with that intuitive sense more than most people, and they notice things that we're not aware of. And Aquarius is also very much about humanity and about friends and groups and the world, so they can have a vision for the world that's very ahead of the times. They're very ahead of the times, these people, and they can be great inventors. They can come up with things that are very ahead of their time. But it's not always going to be operating like that. I mean, it depends on the aspects of Uranus in the chart. The house placement of Uranus is going to show where these people really shine and express that quirkiness. So you really want to study that when you have this rising sign, the house placement of Uranus, the sign that it's expressing itself through as well. Uranus in Capricorn is going to be a little bit more serious, a little bit less quirky. Uranus in Aquarius is going to go all out, totally nutball, right? And genius. But yeah, what else? Oh, and the aspects of Uranus are going to be really important in the birth chart. But yeah, I was going to talk about what they look like, and I kind of got distracted, just started talking about everything. But what do they look like? Yeah, they're mostly tall. They have that twinkle in their eye like Gemini rising. They look like they're really excited about something sometime, or they're really buzzing, okay? Because Uranus is like electricity, so these people are really buzzing around, okay? And there's something unusual about their appearance sometimes. Either they're really tall, or they got a weird nose, or this is something that stands out. These people are a little different. They're a little odd. And they know this, and they take pride in this, and maybe they like to dress weird or out there, or they like to say things that throw others off. And this is a really wonderful rising sign, and like when they're really they have confidence in themselves, they can express who they truly are and not care what other people think, because Uranus Aquarius is so rebellious. They just want to be who they are without restriction. But it doesn't always have to be like that. I mean, if they don't have a lot of confidence in themselves, they can really get stuck on thinking about what the group thinks and trying to fit into the group and trying to be a part of a group. Like, this could be kind of a lonely rising sign because they feel so different, and if they're not okay with that, they're trying to fit into all these different groups. And what you really need to learn when you're Aquarius rising is you're not really going to fit into any group because you are so unique and you are so out there and different that, yeah, and you're not meant to fit into any group in every group. You're meant to be who you are and love who you are and love your brilliance and bring something unique into the world. And others can learn a lot from these people just by being around them. Like, these are some of the best friends you could have because they're very detached, but they do truly care about their friends, but they're not going to place a lot of emotional demands on their friends or even their partners. They can kind of have some breathing room with the relationships, which is a really nice breath of fresh air for some people. For some, it could be infuriating that these people are so out there and detached. They're not really with you, but they are. They're with everyone, you know? What else about Aquarius rising? They're fun people. Like, you want to have one of these people around just to kind of have that sparkle and that fun factor, and also the learning factor. And like, some of these people could be really, really spiritual. They could be very, very into astrology because Uranus rules astrology. These could be some of the best astrologers. I would say out of any of the rising sign, Aquarius rising could be the best astrologers because Uranus rules astrology. But also all kinds of stuff like spiritual stuff, metaphysical, whatever. Like, they can go really deep in that and gain a true understanding of life and the universe. I mean, not all of them are going to do that, but like, there is the potential here. So if you're Aquarius rising, you got to know about that. Another thing, so Aquarius is rising, the first house class, but the 12th house shows our unconscious. It shows the deep buried parts of ourselves. So when Aquarius rising is rising, we have Capricorn somewhere on or near the 12th house, depending on which house system you are using. Having Capricorn ruling the unconscious factor, Saturn ruling over this is kind of, see, it's a lonely, it can be a lonely rising sign. These people can be very hard on themselves and always punishing themselves for what they thought they did wrong or said wrong or something. Saturn is a very punishing planet to have on the 12th house. But what Saturn could also bring here is the ability to deeply study something, or the ability to work long and hard in matters of the unconscious. So these people can really become experts of people, of human nature, of everything, and it's because they have this deep lonely part that just wants to figure out life because they don't want to feel so lonely anymore, and they don't want to beat themselves up anymore. So they can get really involved with all types of healing work and spiritual work, anything that helps them connect with that greater part of themselves. And then they can help others too, because this is like, I don't know if I mentioned, this is a very social rising sign. If you have Aquarius rising, you need to be communicating with people, whether it's actually in person with a lot of people or online. These people can love being in the groups, like astrology groups online or Facebook groups, like groups and friends, and these kind of things go very naturally to these people. It's probably like, I mean, Facebook is kind of like an Aquarius thing, but not to say that all Aquarius risings are going to be all over social media or whatever. It depends on Saturn and Uranus, especially in the aspects or whatever, but they could get a lot of joy from these type of social networks just because they actually like to see what other people are like. They're not closed-minded. They're very open, and they like to look from their detached place and see what other people are doing and why, and, you know, get an understanding of human nature and people from all over the place. So people on the internet, people everywhere, you know. So yeah, they can really like studying humans, and yeah, they can be geniuses, inventors. They can come up with ideas way before we all thought of them. And yeah, they're kind of quirky, and you'll know someone's an Aquarius rising if they're kind of saying weird things out of the blue. They're wacky, they're out there, they're kind of crazy, and yeah. Also, another thing that I've read is, I don't know if this is true or not, I have read this, If you're Aquarius or Leo rising, you're really learning about relationships in this life, like intimate relationships, marriage, partners, because when Aquarius is rising, we have Leo on the 7th house cusp. So the partner is likely going to be a very strong-willed person, as well as so is Mr. or Mrs. Aquarius rising. They're a pretty strong-willed person. Then if Leo is rising, we've got Aquarius on the 7th house, so the partner is very detached. So these two rising signs I've read are learning about partnerships. I don't know, I should probably look more into that. But another thing, so partnerships, marriage partnerships could be kind of an issue. And I mean, how could they not? Like, you're kind of a rebel, right? So you might not like to be in a long-term relationship, or situations could happen that could cause a lot of disruptions in the married life. I mean, with someone as wacky as you, Aquarius rising. But not to say it can't work. You gotta look at Venus, Mars, you gotta look at the whole chart to make some kind of statement like that. I'm just throwing it out there, maybe, not sure. All of this, that, like astrology, when you're studying astrology, it's all very intuitive, and it's not going to be the same for everyone. Not every Aquarius rising is the same. We got to look at Uranus, we got to look at the whole chart. But anyways, hope you liked this video. See you next time.